have some drivers that had a strong start and looking to continue that here on track. We're seeing the number 220 of Ken Simonella. He is out of his kart and out of this qualifying session early. There's 4 minutes remaining for KA Masters, and at the top, Jake Neary in that number 2 kart.
Yeah, about 7 minutes in this qualifying session, and definitely not how Ken Simonella could have wanted to start his weekend here in this one. So a lot of work to do for him to work his way up the field all weekend long, and for Ken, a lot of work to do, like I mentioned. So unfortunate start to his weekend, but we return to the track here as a couple of drivers work their way around the racetrack here, and we'll see what the lap times look like as soon as they continue to cross the stripe. At the moment, it's Jacob Neary, a 1:13.923 at the top of the timing charts here, but we are going to expect that time to continue to come down. Austin Queen there and Jacob Neary in the LN kart there with the number 2 plate. Second place in the championship last year, so let's see what he can do as one of those drivers there drops a tire across the stripe this time by. Is it going to be better for Neary? Austin Queen, top of the timing charts, 1:13.823 for Austin Queen, and then Chris Kusher up to the top at 1:13.652 here, Simon.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to mention, you see we have a 5-kart train here. Newcastle, Indiana, one of the longer tracks we have in North America, long straights, and obviously with that, some of these, especially the KA classes, come with a lot of drafts, and so these drivers are always trying to position themselves. You want to be there lap 3, lap 4 in the back of a really good train of drivers so you can get the maximum efficiency out of that tow. So you can see the pack running starting up already here in the KA Masters. Chris Pitcher to the top of the boards last time by, and it was a 1:13.652. That puts him almost 2/10 clear of his nearest competitor, and we see really, really close times and close battling, especially in these KA classes, and especially at this track here in Newcastle. So that'll be something to look for to see if that gap extends, because I have to say 1700s over the field in such a tightly packed category is impressive to start here.
Yeah, no, definitely for Chris Kusher here. So let's see what it looks like. The start-finish line is actually right there on what would be, if you're running the normal layout, it'd be in between turns number 1 and 2. There you see John Bonanno, the reigning champion. He finds himself in 4th here at the moment with a handful of time to find and work his way further up the timing charts here. So let's see what it looks like. He has one of the Carapolati brothers right in front of him as the time continues to dwindle down, Simon.
One of the Carapolati brothers in front of him, right behind him, Chris Kutcher, top of the boards. Kutcher obviously finding a good draft partner in Jacob Neary, knowing he's also strong up there in the number 3 position. So these two working together beautifully so far in this qualifying session. Looks like Kutcher poking a nose, maybe trying to look for a way around, but not going to go just yet.
Yeah, not as of yet for Chris Kutcher. And I made a mistake. The driver in front of these two, in front of John Bonanno and Chris Kutcher, is Tyler Prestel here. He's currently 8th in the 217 Cosmic there. Finds himself further back in the field with some work to do for Clay Settles. You saw him get past a couple of laps ago. So the times on the left-hand side of your screen are accurate. That is how we have our qualifying here at the moment. So Chris Kutcher still at the top of the timing charts, and you see how much he closes down the gap there in that short chute straightaway to the rear bumper of John Bonanno here. So they continue to follow through. What do the lap times look like this time by when they cross the stripe? Not many improve. Austin Queen puts in a personal best. Chris Kutcher, just not enough. Austin Queen still in 2nd with 2/10 of a second to find if he wants to contend. John Bonanno going to have to get around Tyler Prestel. So still some work to do and some space to find out there on the racetrack here, Simon. 17 seconds to go left in this qualifying session for the pole position here this weekend in KA Masters. So definitely going to have to find some good track space here, Simon.
Yeah, and as you see, they went past Prestel. It seemed like they got by him in an efficient manner. So be looking for Jacob Neary to put down a burner this time by, and thus forth, Chris Kutcher right behind him getting maximum use of that tow all the way around this mile-long facility.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of work to do for some of these drivers here to get it done, but checkered flag is out. Let's see what it looks like for John Bonanno, who crossed the stripe just in time to get a couple of laps in here in this one. John Bonanno right there, as well as the 279 and Chris Kutcher. These two drivers fighting for the pole position, as well as Jacob Neary, who's currently in 3rd. They're going to cross the stripe here shortly. Chris Kutcher, can he hold on to the pole position here this weekend? Checkered flag is out. They're all getting set to cross the stripe now. David Goldman crosses only 6th. Andy Kutcher finds himself in 8th here. Clay settles up to 6th. John Bonanno crosses the line. Nobody able to deny Chris Kutcher, who seems to be set for a pole position here in K8 Masters. A 113.652 on the second lap of qualifying. Was able to hold on here for Chris.
I was going to say that was impressive how early it came in the session. That just proves that, especially in the KA classes, that draft is worth so much more. You're not so much looking for the peak of the tire as you are the best position on the racetrack. We'll see that possibly change when we get to the OKNJ, OKN in the shifter categories, but for these KA classes, it's going to be who positions themselves best on track to get the maximum use of that toe and go for the pole. In KA Masters, it was Chris Kutcher by 0.17 of a second.
And there you see the rest of the field. Your round 1 winner, David Goldman, who won the Queen City Gambit, only 7th. Clay Settles, who his first race this year at the Stars Championship Series, only 6th. James Brancati, 5th. John Bonanno, the reigning champion, 4th. Jacob Neary, 3rd. Austin Queen in that 2nd spot. And then you go further down your last couple of drivers. Scott Carapolati finds himself in 13th. Chris Horan, 12th. David Galawania, 11th. Brent Estes, 10th. So already a very, very packed field. Kim Carapolati down in 20th. Kevin Simonellic and a couple of other drivers who weren't able to put down an entire qualifying session here, unfortunately. But that was it for your KA 100 Masters. And tomorrow it's going to be Chris Kutcher who puts himself on the pole position and going to start there for all 3 of his heat races. So that was Chris Kutcher. And I believe coming up next, we have your Micro Swift drivers where, we've seen a lot of stars come into fruition here, Simon. I mean, the likes of Zane Burgess, Santi Orioli, and others here who have really, showed their pace and really come to life this year in the Micro Swift class. Unfortunately for Santi Orioli, after a bruised wrist last weekend at Homestead AMR Motorplex, has put him out of contention here this weekend and not able to get going. So best wishes to Santi Orioli and the Orioli Kart Performance family. Hopefully Santi does feel better and we see him back at the racetrack soon. He is on site this weekend helping out some of his teammates under the MPG Academy tent, but unfortunate for Santi Orioli, who's looking for a full championship berth at the Stars Championship Series. But Zane Burgess is out here this weekend, as well as other drivers we're looking to contend here, Simon. Yeah,
regardless, we have a big field here, and we'll be seeing an action-packed weekend, especially with this racetrack suiting to the racecraft portion of driving. While there is going to be, pace, you have to be quick, you have to get those lap times in. There's going to be a lot of positioning of racecraft come race time, and for now, the positioning comes in being behind a good driver and getting a good toe lap. Who's going to take the most efficient route to do that here in our Micro Swift category? Kart's out on track now. Quite a big group going out in front. Nobody really hanging back as of yet, and we'll see when the games start being played.
Yeah, and this is super important here because around a track like Castle Motorsports Park that has such long straightaways and such of in such a high momentum category, right? You need to find the draft. You need to find the track position to really get going. You see already a lot of pushing and shoving there as one driver off the racetrack. We don't have the number as of yet. That's the 44 there who's off the racetrack, unfortunately, here. And we'll get a name stat number here shortly, but that's an unfortunate end to the start of that driver's qualifying session here. So unfortunate, and that's exactly what we talk about, right? You need to find the track position. You need to find the space. You need to give yourself the time to really get up to speed. This is a long track with very, very long lap times. So you really need to find the space, find the time, and find a teammate, find a buddy to go out there and push each other with. Because if you're passing every single lap trying to get through traffic, it's not going to help you out at all. And if anything, it's just going to hurt you. You need a good draft, you need a pushing partner, and you need to find space on the racetrack. So those are the 3 keys here in this Micro Swift and Mini Swift category. And you're to see Danny O'Gara out in front, a local Indiana kid. His parents run Whiteland Raceway Park, so he's out here leading the group. Along behind him, I believe that's Kubinski right behind him in the AEM OTK there. They all cross the stripe this time by us. We're going to get names. Easton Kubinski there right behind Daniel O'Gara. Then you go back to Jaden Francisco, who's currently 3rd on the racetrack. Jake Manalio, 4th. Zane Burgess, 5th, with Brody Stoffel in tow. And you'll already see a lot of drivers starting to pass Francisco there on the outside. Everybody kind of roughing each other up here. And that's really not what they need here, Simon.
And typically that's the kind of stuff you would see in a race situation, but everybody fighting hard to get in that position and put themselves in a good spot. And you see O'Gara leading from the front, opting to go out front, take one driver with them, and just set their laps together in a 2 kart tandem. We'll see how that works out as the times will be posted next time around. This is the first green lap of the session. Still 4.5 minutes remaining, so plenty of time to get your lap in, but we'll see early what the pace is from O'Gara.
Yeah, we'll see what it looks like for Danny O'Gara as there you saw the 38 of Easton Kubinski look to make a move on O'Gara. Just wasn't close enough that time by. But I mean, Simon, you've raced here for a number of years yourself. You grew up racing at this racetrack. This is where you really, learned how to drive. What does it take to go faster on Newcastle Motorsports Park?
It's a combination of a lot of factors. You have a lot of kind of middle speed rolling 90-degree corners, and you see that as we come into the last section of the track here. So making sure you have a kart that has a good bit of front that can rotate across and roll a good minimum speed at the same time. And then we also have several hairpins in this facility as we come to the first one now in turn number 2. As they come out, O'Gara, you see him flowing into the bowl section. This is a section that actually never ran at this facility. Typically, it's just a long straight, but the Stars Championship Series running the bowl layout into the next hairpin corner. So making sure you're efficient through the hairpins and good through the 90-degree corners. I'd say those are my keys to this facility.
Yeah, so there you heard it from Simon. I've raced around this place as well, just never went quick around here because of how difficult this racetrack is, and you really need all the momentum that you can get. So, if you see a driver putting a little bit too much input on that steering wheel, he's scrubbing all that momentum from the kart, and that's just losing time, losing tenths of a second. It's losing a little bit of speed here, so that's going to be critical for some of these drivers. Let's run you down your field here at the moment. It's Hudson Howard at the top of the timing charts here, a 119.770. Oh, as Danny O'Gara and a couple of drivers there get together. They're not too happy with each other, and the Kart Republic of O'Gara is going to have to get behind Brody Stoffel and the 28 there of a couple of those as they continue to get together and try and jockey for position here, Simon.
Dicey here early in the Micro Swift qualifying. The driver that started out front, Danny O'Gara, falling back into the kart group behind him. He'll tussle with them a bit. Not the cleanest of driving so far. Everyone really, really fighting for that track position, but we have 3 karts out front. It is Kubinski followed by Manalio. Manalio at the top of the boards as it stands by 0.14 of a second. Still 2.5 minutes remaining. We'll probably see 2 more laps next time by, and Zane Burgess there. So we have 3 of the top 4 drivers in one group out front, leading and opting to stay clean. What do you think of that, Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, this is really what Zane Burgess needs, right? I mean, and Jake Manal. These have arguably been some of the quickest drivers all year long across all the National Series. So Zane Burgess, who has a lot of wins to his name, he won the first round at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Queen City Gambit. So Zane, I mean, we spoke to him a little bit earlier on this weekend. He was like, yeah, I just need to keep my nose clean, and I know I can come away with another win here this weekend. So Zane Burgess looks to be clean as well, has Jake Manali right behind him, and they know they cannot afford to fight and lose time to drivers ahead. You see Wynn Godshock there for the back in his Bennett machine looking to make moves as they continue to cycle through. But what does it look like this time by when they cross the stripe? It's Manalio at the top of the timing charts this time by. What does it look like? Everybody's starting to cross the stripe here in a second. Can anybody improve their lap times as we get down to crunch time? We're probably going to have 2 laps to go, and for a second it was for Manalio, but Jaden Francisco to the top of the timing charts here in the 32 Ryan Perry Motorsports machine, a 118.382 here, Simon.
And as he crosses, he's in a group just a little bit farther back on track. You see him there on your screen in this kind of mix. He's in a good range to kind of pick up the efficiency of the air from the karts in front. But look at what we have in turn 2 here, the hairpin, multiple karts getting together.
That's Marcelo Flores and Dutch Westbrook there, and that's the 30 there of Trip Golnick. He's currently 9th here, so for all these drivers, definitely not what they needed. Dutch Westbrook, Marcelo Flores, all names that we're so used to hearing here. Westbrook currently 12th. And for all these other drivers, this is going to be it for their qualifying session here. Not what you need in the first day of racing action here this weekend.
And we'll see one get back going, but that's not going to matter too much. He'll get the checkered next time by. So those drivers are stuck with what they have. They either got a lap in earlier, or they're going to be fighting an uphill battle all weekend as we watch karts coming by. It's 18 seconds left, but they're just near the finish line. We'll see one more lap for this group here as they cross the line with just about 10 seconds left on the clock. So one more time, the gap up front's close, 600s covering the top 3. What can these drivers do?
Francisco improves, goes even better. A 118.301. Checkered flag is out. That's it for this qualifying session. And if nobody can improve, and if these drivers didn't cross the line in time, this may be it here for their qualifying session. Not sure if these drivers crossed the line in time, but that driver there, the Ryan Perry Motorsports machine, is set to start on the pole position all weekend long for the Ryan Perry Motorsports camp. A 118.301, a lot better, almost a 10th quicker than Jake Manalio, and they are going to have one more lap, so they cross the stripe in time here. So what is it going to be for Jaden Francisco and Jake Manalio? Zane Burgess in this group as well.
And as they come around, one thing to note, it was only about half the field that got an extra lap. So it was whoever stayed at the front of the pack, and that really matters when it comes down to needing that extra lap to put yourself up at the front. Is there anyone that can top Francisco at the top of the boards right now? Manalio's on another lap. Burgess is on another lap. Kubinski's on another lap. We'll see what it comes by here. Burgess letting them flow through as we head to the final couple of corners.
And that's going to help out Manalio there and Kubinski. Can they improve? Can they deny Jaden Francisco from a pole position here at the Stars Championship Series? The checkered flag is out. Can anybody improve? Manalio first across the stripe. Can he get it done across the line? Not good enough, up to second. Francisco doesn't improve. It looks set to be Jaden Francisco. They all cross the stripe. Anybody else? Can they improve? And they cannot. Jaden Francisco on the pole position here in Micro Swift. A 118.301. Nobody going to deny the Ryan Perry Motorsports camp. In second, Jake Manalio looked to have a flyer there in the end, just wasn't good enough. Only a 10th off here, Simon.
Yeah, it was a close-fought qualifying session, but Francisco coming out on top. Manalio P2, Burgess P3, Goldchalk P4, and Hudson Howard, the only driver to improve on that last lap, moves himself up into P5. Brody Stoffel comes home P6, Easton Kubinski P7, Lawrence Perriman P8, Danny O'Gara falling down into that 9th spot after leading the early stages of the session, and Marcelo Flores rounding out your top 10 here in Micro Swift.
Then you go back to Trip Golinek, Parker Stewart, Dutch Westbrook, who we saw outside of the racetrack 13th. Not too bad considering the circumstances here for Dutch Westbrook. Austin Taylor, 14th. And for Dutch Westbrook also was here late after some flight cancellations in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So with only really two practices in the books for Dutch Westbrook, not too bad of a qualifying. You go down Austin Taylor, Logan Arteta, George Zeminski, Zeb Gottschalk, Dominic Gaddis, Jack Kotowski, Hendrickson, Thomason, Riley, Wilson, Dixon, Thomasian, Warnowicz, and then you go down to Williamson and Liat Simonellic as well. So all these drivers working their way into the scale lines. But with some pickup getting set to go underway, we're going to take this quick break to step away before we get set with our master shifter driver. So we'll be right back. You're watching Kart Chasers live coverage of the Star Championship Series. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I've been shooting for 3 years and I've never got to drive.
Well, you'll need some more gear than just your helmet. Why don't you go to shopakr.com. They got their inventory online and they'll ship it the same day if you order before 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
They got shoes,
Yep.
gloves,
Yep.
rib protectors.
Got those too.
Can they make me go fast?
No.
Here at Acceleration Kart Racing, we've got everything you need to get on track. What happens next, well, that's on you. Check us out online at shopakr.com.
We're at a commercial break.
Welcome back here to Castle Motorsports Park as we get set to go green with our Master Shifter class. And we have a lot of these Master Shifters out here this weekend, and we've seen a big Master Shifter class every time we come out here to the Star Championship Series with about over 15 drivers here this weekend. We're going to get an exact number as they all cross the stripe. The last time out at the Charlotte Motor Speedway was Skitchy Barnes, who was able to win overall for the first round of the Star Championship Series. He's on the ROK-powered machine here this weekend for the Maranello team here. So they all cross the stripe here at the moment. Let's run you down your field. Tim Hollowell in the 631, Robert Feige in the 611, Scott Presti in the 608, Evan Batt in the 604, Brian Chatfield in the 619, Skitchy Barnes in the 509, Jake Fetter in the 612, Joe Ruck, the reigning champion, in the number 1 Maranello machine, Luis Quinones in the 601, making his Star Championship Series debut here, if I'm not mistaken, Matt Machiko in the 603, Ryan Frank in the 605, Michael Gausch in the 691, Brad Danoff in the 617, Jeff Mills in the 625, as we have one driver way off the racetrack here. That's the 629 there of Ryan Estep. So not the best start to his qualifying session for that Magic Kart driver. So hopefully he can get back going, and I don't think he's going to be allowed to push himself back on the racetrack here. So that may be it there for Estep, unfortunately. But let's continue going down. Michael Gausch in the 691, Brad Danoff, Jeff Mills in the 625, Luis Quinones, Morvan Tak in the 668, Hugh Templeman in the 600, Kelly Johnson in the 524, Ryan Estep in the 629, we saw him go off the racetrack there, Diamandez Ortiz in the 514, and Michael Rivera in the 21 in the GFC machine. So 21 drivers total, and a really good showing for these Master Shifters who absolutely delivered at the opening round at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So a lot of drivers here this weekend, and let's see what it looks like here at the moment. There on your screen is the 631, that TV kart machine of Tim Hollowell. And then right behind him, the 611 here of Robert Feige. So all these drivers wanting to cycle through. And Simon, I really wouldn't be surprised to see some burner laps from some of these drivers. It is a very long racetrack, so you really need to measure it out. You need to push when you need to push, save a little bit of tire, pull back for a lap, and then go at it all over again here.
Yeah, so unlike our KA and more draft-focused classes, this qualifying session going to operate slightly differently. All the same as far as scheduling and all of that goes, but from a driving standpoint out there, they're not going to be looking for so much draft as the KAs, as they are going to be setting themselves up for quick solo laps, maybe a bit of a tow way far in front, but certainly nothing like we see with the KA, the micros, in the mini classes. They're going to be looking for the peak of the tire. We should see it maybe lap 2, lap 3, and on your screen there, the number 2 Kart. And that, as we come around through the bowl, he's got quite a bit of tow, so we'll see his kart probably working well here in the early stages of this qualifying session.
Yeah, so we're not sure who the number 2 is here at the moment. Doesn't have a it's Evan Batt here, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, he has the wrong number on the kart, but it's he's in the 604. Should be in the 604, but that's a number 2 there on that kart. But that is Evan Batt. We saw the back of the suit said Batt, so in the number 2 here, but I believe it should be 604 here, but he continues to work his way around. Scott Presti right in front of him is Ralph Schumacher kart, and then in front of them, Robert Feige there, as well as a couple of Maranellos right behind them, and they continue to cycle through here, Simon.
And I just want to say the top 3, as it stands, all within 300ths of a second. So Evan Batt leading them around as we've been watching him for the past lap. In front of him, Scott Presti. Scott will drop back 2 spots as both Joe Ruck and Chatfield improve, but not before Fetter slams his place up into P2. As Timothy Hollowell now with a big gap in front, as we see the kart trying to get refired, another kart off in the next corner, and issues here in this qualifying session. That is Chatfield, currently 3rd place out of the session.
Yeah, that 619 Maranello USA kart out of this qualifying session early. We're only a minute and a half in here, so we only have a minute and a half left here. We're already 5 minutes into this qualifying session, so time dwindling down, and for Chatfield, unfortunately, found himself in 3rd here at the moment, not going to be able to improve his lap times here. Tim Hollowell, top of the timing charts here in his TB kart machine. Can he continue to push? Can he hold on to that position here? For the likes of Joe Ruck, the reigning champ, only 5th here at the moment. Skitchy Barnes only 9th for his ROK-powered machine. He's the fastest one of the ROK machines here, but just not able to contend with the with the power of the KZs here. What does it look like this time by for Hollowell? Doesn't improve that time by, 0.3 slower. Let's see what it looks like. It looks like they're going to have one more go around Newcastle Motorsports Park here on this Friday afternoon to end their qualifying here as he moves the 514 there a little bit out of the way, and he continues to cycle through, and I don't know if he's going to be able to improve, but Matt Machiko to the top of the timing charts, a 106.891, 0.4 quicker than Tim Hollowell.
Big move to the top for Machiko, 0.4 of a second, which was previously 100th between Hollowell and Fetter. So a big move to establish the lead early. We still have a lap left to complete. We'll see what it looks like next time across, but Machiko setting the pace strong.
Setting the pace strong here indeed, and let's see if anybody can go quicker. This is going to be it for this qualifying session. They are going to run out of time this time by when they cross the stripe. Can anybody improve? Here's Tim Hollowell. He's currently second. Can he improve? Can he go even quicker than he has been this qualifying session for the TB Kart? His last time around, this is his last go at the pole position here. Can he improve? He doesn't. Almost a second slower on that last lap. Just ran out of tires here, unfortunately. Jake Fetter third, and it looks set to be here. I don't want to speak too soon, but Matt Machiko looks to hold on to it. Quinones up to P4. Machiko crosses the line, doesn't go quicker, so seems like the tires are falling off here for these shifter drivers after a lot of pushing here in this 6 or 7 minutes of this qualifying session, but everybody cycles through, and it looks set to be Matt Machiko on the pole position here in Pro Master Shifter and ROK Master Shifter. So there you have it. Your run down the order. Matt Machiko on the pole position. Tim Hollowell second. Jake Fetter starting on the inside tomorrow in third. Quinones P4 starting on the outside for Chatfield P5. Evan Batt in sixth. Skitchy Barnes there, who's right behind our timing charts here. Only seventh for Skitchy here, and not too bad considering he is on that rock-powered machine. Joe Ruck, the reigning champ, down in 8th. Robert Feige, 9th. Scott Presti, 10th. Mike Rivera, 11th. Ryan Frank, 12th. Jeff Mills, 13th. Kelly Johnson, 14th. Michael Gosh, down in 15th. And let's run you down your last couple of drivers here. Brad Danoff, 16th. And it says Luis Quinones down there in 17th. There's 2 Luis Quinones here this weekend, and that's something we're going to have to get used to here, Simon, and it's going to keep us on our toes. But there you have it. The rest of your field, more Van Tuck down there, Hugh Templeman, Jamadez Ortiz, and Ryan Estep, all the drivers who are out here this weekend. But wow, Matt Machiko in the 6:03 on the pole position tomorrow. And you see there are a couple of drivers fired up after that qualifying session. But for Matt Machiko on the pole position here in Pro Master Shifter.
And he's on the pole in a big way. That's going to send a message to all of his competitors. 0.4 of a second. Behind that, the gaps are minuscule, separated by 100,000ths of a second for the drivers behind, but 0.4 of a second, 3,900ths to be exact, out in front of this field. And one thing I want to mention, we talked about the peak of the tire coming lap 2, lap 3. It was more like lap 3, lap 4 this session.
Correct.
And fortunately, Chatfield able to get a lap in. We saw him out early in the session, but he had already set a lap that at the time was good enough for third. He drops back to 5th, so still a top 5 starting spot out of the session.
Yeah, there on your screen you have Tim Hollowell in the TV card, who qualified second here. So a pretty good qualifying session for Tim Hollowell here as he takes the suit off here and gets set to go with the Indy 500 shirt on. I mean, there was a pretty big race here in Indiana last week, but we're here for the Stars Championship Series. Who cares about IndyCar? Who cares about the big cars? Stars Championship Series, the king of the castle, has come to town, and this is why all of us are here. This is why over 500 people are here in the paddock here this weekend, getting set to watch some great racing action with the Stars Pro Show coming back this weekend. We're going to see the pro drivers go at it on the OKN side and on the pro shifter side, where we saw the likes of AJ Myers, Jay Irwin, and a couple of other drivers go at it. So has been super exciting to say the least here this weekend to see so many people, so many familiar faces from all over the United States coming out here to the Stars Championship Series. But on track now, your K8 Juniors, where last time out at Charlotte Motor Speedway, it was Isaac Malquit in the PSL Burrell Art Machine who was able to take the win away from the likes of Enzo Vinmontian and Michael McGoy. So all these drivers here on the racetrack now, they are going to be split up in 2 groups. There's Ty Fisher and the Race Lab TV Kart with a couple of other drivers. And for Ty Fisher, one of the drivers to look out for here had a failure in happy hour earlier today. So we're definitely going to have to look out for Ty Fisher here and see if he got all those gremlins out of the go-kart here in happy hour, so he finds himself in the back half of the pack. But hopefully he can set in a good lap time here in this qualifying session. A driver who's been up there all year long, has been one of the contenders wherever we go, whatever state. There's a lot of drivers there off the racetrack on the edge of your screen there. A couple losing a tire there at the back going into the last couple of corners. So unfortunate for those drivers. And you see almost 3 drivers that got caught out and not able to get back going. One of them lost a driver. That's the 898 here, if I'm not mistaken, who lost a tire there. We're going to get a name here as they continue to cycle through. But Ty Fisher here this weekend, the 817 here as well, who finds himself off the racetrack. But Ty Fisher here, Henry Taylor in the 810, Bex Cranston in the 826, Luca Brancati, Homer Heeman, Indy Anderson, Donovan Hogan, Casey Mosley, John Michael Dunnigan, Julian Pollard, the first 10 drivers who made it out to the racetrack here, Simon.
Yeah, and as you see, there's a crash here on the opening lap. They're on the out lap. They hadn't even gotten the green flag yet, so issues early means you're going to be fighting an uphill battle all weekend. From the opposite perspective, Ty Fisher opting to go out in front of the field, not chase any kind of tow, any kind of draft, just go out, run his solo pace, and see what it comes out to be. Because any incidents here for him in this qualifying session and the happy hour issue puts him even farther back, working out of the back half of this group. So as long as he can just get a solid time in, draft regardless, you don't worry about too much. Just put yourself as far as you can on solo pace, and that's what he's doing here early. We'll see what the first lap looks like as he's coming to the start-finish here this time by tucking low, and we'll see what it comes out to be. Early pace, 113.632. That is a good ways clear. Everybody behind him. He has 9/10 of a second so far on this opening lap. Pace will continue to pick up. We'll see the times decrease as the session progresses, but that's a good early showing here for Ty Fisher on the first lap.
Yeah, about 8/10 of a second quicker than the rest of the field after, like we said, issues for him in that happy hour session earlier today. Emerson Lane, the kid from Dallas, Texas, finds himself in second here, as well as Derek Wargo, the drive your line and one of the representatives from NOLA Motorsports Park, finds himself in third. Mason Kuhn, currently P4. Luca Brancati running up your top 5 here, but Ty Fisher currently way ahead of the rest of the field here. And this is only the first half of our KA100 Junior qualifying session. This is qualifying B. Later on, we're going to have your qualifying A group come onto the track. We have Jeremiah Thomas right behind Derek Wargo, Emerson Lane right in front of them. So this group here is sitting in some pretty good lap times, and this is really what you need when you look at a qualifying session, right? You need a little bit of space. You can't be too far back. You still need to find the toe just that little bit to really give you that last little push, that last little oomph that you need to get around this racetrack as they continue to cycle through in between this short chute straightaway here. As one driver there dropped the tire, and you see that dirt there on the side of the racetrack, Simon.
Yeah, and one thing I want to note, we're running a reverse layout of the new Castle Motorsports Park this weekend. So unlike running the normal direction where you have big exit curbs, you know where your car is on entry, this time there's no runoff at the edge of the track. There's no curbing. It's just track out from the corner and dirt. So you have to be really careful on where you're placing that kart, especially in a qualifying session where we're getting dirt on your tire. Could you set you back if you do it near the end of the lap? The next lap may be compromised from the wear of that dirt. It's going to marble it up. You're going to be slow there for a minute. So making sure you're clean and precise on these laps is going to be the key to going up to the top. Fisher still up on top of the boards as it stands in this first group of KA Junior, but Brancati has closed the gap somewhat slightly down to 54/100ths of a second, a half second back, but it is an improvement, and that will be our P2 time. On back from there, Mosley P3, Kuhn P4, Scheibel in 5th.
Yeah, there you have Luca Brancati looks to make a move there on the 810 comp kart. That's Henry Taylor as Mason Kuhn goes up to second. Brancati falls back to that third spot, and after having to make a move, going to lose a little bit of time here as well for Taylor. He got passed by 2 karts there down the main straightaway, so he's going to lose time. But the other comp kart, the 878 of Derek Wargo, now going into turn number 1, finds himself in second. Emerson Lane as well on what's his second national junior race, finds himself in third here at the moment in this second qualifying group. The lap times at the moment 2/10 off of what Ty Fisher was able to do on the second lap. And we talked about that tire peak here, Simon. So it's changing here a little bit. I mean, you see lap 2, and they're really not lapping or getting close to that 10th of a second that they were at the start.
Yeah, and this is going to be another positioning thing. If there's drivers out there that manage to find a good toe, they could improve late in the session. But as I want to note, we saw a 113.6 on the first lap from Ty Fisher. He's improved about a half second on that lap time. The rest of the field picking up over a second on what they did that first lap. So the tires coming in early for Ty, maybe not as quickly for the field behind him. He will put in a 149, a 113.149 this time by. That will improve him by a few hundredths over what he previously held. And as the times continue to change, we're on lap number 4 right now. So everyone's starting to put some really good times in. And Derek Wargo, the closest as it stands in P2.
Yeah, so there you have him cross the stripe that time by, only 2/10 off here at the moment. And Ty Fisher, I mean, we were talking about the tire drop-off and you know, throughout the qualifying session. Lap 4 now, Ty Fisher able to improve his lap time as we only have 5 seconds left in this qualifying session. So this is going to be the last go-around for these drivers in this second group of qualifying. Derek Wargo needing to improve here a little bit to really cycle through whenever the rest of the KA field comes out here in just a couple of minutes' time. So really going to need to set in a good lap time to find himself and cycle himself through, maybe inside the top 20 or further up the field here. At the moment, we have about 26 drivers out there on the racetrack here at the moment. So they're really going to have to set in good lap times because we still have the faster group from the happy hour session getting set to go green. But time has officially ran out. What does it look like for these drivers this time by when they cross the stripe? It's Derek Wargo who leads the group here at the moment, and they're all getting set to cross here, Simon.
And Ty Fisher on lap number 5 extends his advantage, a 112.924. We're seeing lots of moves farther down the field, lots of drivers improving on this last time by. As they come to the line this time by, on your screen, any improvement? Emerson Lane still in P4. That was not an improvement that time. So a 112.924 is the top time out of the first group of KA Junior. Keep that in mind. We'll see where the next group rolls out, but he put 0.4 of a second over his competition in Group 1. Derek Wargo coming home P2, Mason Kuhn P3, Emerson Lane P4, Jacob Scheible in P5, Davis Henry P6, Isabella Simpson P7, Indy Anderson P8, Donovan Hogan P9, and Luca Gomes rounding out your top 10. Further back, it is John Michael Dunnigan P11, Luca Brancati P12, Julian Pollard P13, and let's see, it continues to cycle. I'm seeing Emerson Lane on this screen, but they may not be correct. We'll go a little bit farther back to Casey Mosley in P16, Taylor P17, Brancati P18, Smith P19, Jack Bieber in P20, and on back from there, Caleb.
Yeah, no, we still have the rest of our KA 100 juniors getting set to go out here in a second. The likes of Enzo Vitamonti and others getting set to go green for their qualifying session here. We saw some shifters who are stuck here in the scale line, so we may take a little while to cycle all these KA 100 juniors through, but we'll see what it looks like, and we'll wait here a second for our Group A of our KA 100 juniors to go out. So that's a pretty good lap time by Ty Fisher to really be a contender for a top 10 starting spot, and it looks like he did that all on his own. So already showing you what you can do with some good track position here, Simon.
Yeah, I'm not sure our finishing order was grouped correctly initially. I'm seeing some different results here on Alpha Timing, so we'll go back and check on that for you and get back to you on the Group 1 results. But coming out next will be Group 2, the faster group from Happy Hour, and we'll see if anyone can topple Ty Fisher from his early success in Group 1.
Yeah, there you see Ty in that Race Lab TB kart suit and card. So not too bad for Ty Fisher here after issues in his happy hour session. Really put him out of contention for a start in Group A of the qualifying group, but not too bad of a performance here, as well as 0.6 of a second quicker than his competition. So for Ty Fisher, that's a pretty good showing for that Race Lab TB card, and I'm sure they're going to be happy with that lap time, but we'll see. We still have, about another 25 drivers who need to go out there on the racetrack, and you have a lot of quality in that second half, right? Really, really quick drivers, drivers who have a lot of race wins, a lot of championships to their name already this year. So, well, no championships because we're just at the start of the year, but a lot of race wins and who have a lot of previous championships, national championships here across all national series. So we'll see what it looks like for the rest of the groups who get set to go out, as I believe the 1 minute mark has been thrown up. So we'll stay live here and running for you guys for our second group of this KA100 Junior category. But Simon, so far, I mean, we've seen a lot, and we've seen what it takes to go quicker on a place like this, right? Qualifying absolutely critical, especially in your KA100 senior class, especially in your KA100 junior class. You really cannot afford to have an off session in this qualifying, because it's going to be so important. All three of your both of your heat races and then the pre-final, you're going to have to work your way up. You're going to have to make moves and bide your time, and that's really not what you need whenever you want to find yourself outside of an LCQ and race to be in the paint.
Yeah, and especially knowing how important a qualifying session is determines how you're going to approach that. If you have one qualifying session for 3 races, obviously that session is going to be extremely important. And I'm surprised how much action we've seen in qualifying so far. Cars off to the side, crashes, wild stuff going on here. Some even before karts had turned a lap on track. So now, as the second group gets ready to roll, we'll see if we see any chaos, any shuffling of positions. They'll definitely be looking for a draft. And we'll see who comes out on top. Ty Fisher's time of a 1:12.924, still standing as the best time on track. This group having the opportunity to go out there and chase it.
Yeah, so Isaac Malquit, your round 1 winner there on passing by on your screen. As the rest of the field continues to cycle through here, so we're going to get the total number of drivers here, and then the rest of the MPG Academy boys work their way out onto the racetrack on their own. So 5 MPG Academy Kart Republics here. Nathan Golseth crossing the short chute straightaway here, one of the MPG Academy drivers, right behind the 884 there, Isaac Malquit. And they're on your screen as well. So a lot of drivers. Marco Romero there on the edge of your screen. Max Weiland there as well. So let's see what it looks like for all these drivers, and we'll get names and numbers as soon as they cross the stripe here shortly. It's Nate Golseth, Ezekiel Height, Cadence Presley in the 801, Jackson Baldus in the 876. As the rest are going to continue to cycle through. Brandon Saraki in the 816. He's out there on the racetrack now. Sebastian Rist in the 822 here as well. There's going to be a big group of karts that works their way to the start-finish straight. You see our flagman, Justin Dittrich, giving us the green flag, Roman McCurdy. And let's see what it looks like here, Simon.
And one thing I want to note, we just saw Isaac Malquit dip a tire off the exit. No exit curbing, so it goes into the dirt. He's slow off the next corner and falls 2 karts back. So this lap probably not going to be the heater he would want. Of course, it is only lap 1, so he has time. But that's just something you have to look out for, keeping your tires clean, keeping yourself in a good spot. And he might have been in a better spot before that and maybe upset that now he has 2 karts in front of him from the tow he originally wanted. But you look behind him and be glad he's not farther back, because the group just behind him, I saw them 2, 3 wide, about 10 karts deep. So a lot of action starting off, everyone trying to get themselves in the best position possible, make the most of that tow. And Malquit on this lap, looking to the karts in front of him, 1 slow off the pace in front, maybe just a little bit of reordering, but you could be getting in the way of some other karts. And I'm not sure if we have impeding penalties here in the Stars Championship Series, but it could be something to look out for.
Yeah, so definitely going to be one of the things and one of the factors here. And so you do, just to correct you here, Simon, and to inform you here, we do have impeding penalties. You lose your fastest lap if you do impede another driver. So definitely not what you want to do, as Nate Golseth goes top of the timing charts, not quicker than what Ty Fisher was able to set. We are only in the first lap here. So Golseth and the ROK Motorsports machine, top of the timing charts here, as a couple of drivers there shuffling for position. Jackson Deal in this group as well here, Simon.
And I'm surprised how big of an impact the reverse circuit is having early in this qualifying session, seeing multiple drivers dip tires off the exit, and it completely compromises the section, especially when it's that last 90-degree corner. You come out of it and then you get to the start line. So if you mess up that run through that corner, that's going to burn a whole nother lap. And with the lap times a minute and 13, minute and 12 seconds around, it does take a while. It takes a chunk out of that session that you previously had. So we'll see. We're waiting for it to count down. Several drivers, Isaac Malquit, who's done incredible over the past couple of years, he making mistakes, dipping a tire off exit. So we'll see when the lap times come this time, if they can make that improvement. We're down in the 113s right now, but the 112.924 is the mark they're chasing. And just like I was saying, dipping tires off the exit curb, you see it there. I mean, no curb actually, right. Just dirt, and so that can heavily impact your run, cost you multiple tenths of a second very easily.
And one of the big issues here, right? I mean, it's not even an issue, but you carry so much speed through these corners. You really need to be on the gas really quick, especially in this KA 100 junior category, where you need to carry the momentum, really have a good exit out of the corners to get it done. But some of these drivers just pushing the limits a little bit too much. Maybe not putting enough input or putting it in a little bit too much where they find themselves off the racetrack. But as we look back to our timing charts here, John Antonino in the MPG Academy machine, a 1:12.866 goes quicker already than Ty Fisher in this big Agla go-karts here. Marco Romero here, that's Cameron Marsha in this group as well. Max Weiland. So this is all your fast drivers that we've seen all year long, and they find themselves jockeying for position here, Simon.
Yeah, and as you see that, the 866, that is 600s quicker than Ty Fisher. Caleb Tarter also sneaking one in there, a 1:12.902. So Ty Fisher provisionally P3 as the rest of the drivers close in. But remember, this is only lap number 2. It took Ty Fisher until lap number 5 to get under the 113-second bracket. So already being in the 112s, lap 2, very, very strong. We'll see how far Ty Fisher falls down the order. I expect it will continue to drop as the session goes on. He was at about a 113.3 at this time in group number 1. So already a half-second quicker than Ty Fisher at the same point in the session. We'll see if Antonino continues to extend that lead.
And you see the big difference here, right? I mean, John Antonino has a teammate behind him, pushing each other forward, setting in good lap times, setting in consistent lap times, and this is exactly what you need in a qualifying session like this. We saw earlier a big gaggle of karts there, fighting, jockeying for a position. That's not what you need, because you're wasting time here. You need to do what Antonino's doing. It seems to be serving him right here. A 1:12.866 finds him at the top of the timing charts. Didn't have the best lap last time by, but they continue to improve as Malcolm moves up to P3 here, Simon.
And no one else that time by, not a single driver in the field dropping into the 112-second bracket. So Ty Fisher's time might be stronger than I initially thought. Lap 2, I thought we were going to continue improving. Lap 3, 4, 5, and it would just be progressive. And we may see that in lap 4 and 5, but the early signs are that Ty Fisher's 112.92 can be strong, maybe a top 5, definitely a top 10, I would say, out of this session. We'll wait and see. I don't want to speak too soon, but Antonino currently your leader, and it's a close field. A lot of low 13s, 13-0, but new driver to the top, Isaac Malquit, just for a second, and Travis Pettit slams it down in that number 829 machine, a 112.622. 0.2 of a second clear, but only for a minute as the checkered flag comes out right after Antonino crosses. I'm not sure whether he will get another lap or not, but he returns to the top of the boards at a 112.292. Incredible pace here at the end of the session.
Absolutely unheard of here from John Antonino, a 112.292, going quicker than anybody else on the racetrack here. And now you start thinking about Ty Fisher. He starts falling back further and further down the field. Enzo Vidmontien up to P6, Malquit P5, Landon Boer P4, Travis Pettit P3, Caleb Tarter second. And that driver there on your screen with the fellow MPG Academy driver, he's leading this group. The driver in front, John Antonino, on the provisional pole position here in K8 Junior. Will he have another go-around? I'm not sure if he crossed the stripe just in time to get one more go around Newcastle Motorsports Park, and I think he did. So let's see what it looks like this time by for John Antonino. Can anybody deny John Antonino from a maiden junior pole position here this weekend? Travis Pettit across the line, only 4th. Vidmontien improves, only 5th. John Antonino next across the line. Dupuis up to P8. What does it look like for John Antonino? He doesn't improve, but nobody gonna deny John Antonino from a KA100 Junior pole position at Newcastle Motorsports Park.
And a big drive to get it done. 112.292 is the mark for KA Junior. Both Landon Boer and Isaac Malquit improving on lap 5 as well, but not enough. And the order on your screen, John Antonino, Caleb Tarter, Landon Boer, Isaac Malquit, and Travis Pettit, your top 5. As I look at the order, it will be Ty Fisher in P7 provisionally. His time good enough to hold for P7 out of group number 1, so a really strong effort from Ty Fisher without a draft on solo pace. We'll see what he does in the heat races tomorrow, but very, very strong effort from Group 1. As we go farther down the order here in KA Junior, Enzo Vidmontien in P6, Jackson Deal P7, Nathan Dupuis P8, Jude Thromoswamy P9, and Max Weiland rounding out your top 10, Caleb.
Yeah, that's your top 10 there. Then you move back to Jackson Baldus in 11th, Cameron Marshut 12th, Cash Perkins 13th, Nate Golseth. Not too bad of a qualifying session there for Nate Golseth, who found himself in the LCQ last time out at Trackhouse Motorplex, I guess, sorry. There's so many Motorsports Park, Motorplex, Racing Park, whatever it is. We get confused. We go to so many tracks throughout the year. But, yeah, there you have Marco Romero, P16, Giro Balog, 17th, Christopher Utsi, 18th, Benham Abernathy, 19th, Roman McCurdy, 20th, Brennan Siraki, 21st, Presley Rist, McGoy. Wow, only 24th here from Michael McGoy. That's he was contending for a race win a month ago in Charlotte. Finds himself in 24th. Ezekiel Height, 25th. Chase Gassiet-Lee as well. I mean, there you see how important this session is. And wow, for Chase Gassiet-Lee. Ryan Moore, 27th. Tristan Murphy, 28th. And you have to think about, I mean, this is only one group. You still have to think about qualifying. B went out first. All these drivers are going to mesh sooner. If you find yourself that far back in the field, whenever it combines, that's almost that's further back than like the 52 mark.
Yeah, so what you're
wow.
looking at on screen here with Michael McGoy and Chase Gassiet-Lee in P24 and P26 respectively, only out of Group 2. So we'll see when they reorder. It's going to be a ways down the field, and they're going to have an uphill battle on their hands throughout this weekend as the next group hitting the track here for their qualifying session.
There's your Mini Swift drivers who are out on the racetrack now with a lot of drivers here this weekend. Parker Ives, your most recent race winner here in the Mini Swift category, won 2 weeks ago at Trackhouse Motorplex for the Ryan Perry Nitro Kart there, the 149. Won 2 weeks ago and looks to go back-to-back here in two of the big national series that we go to here. Here, I guess, at Car Chaser, right? So let's see what it looks like for Parker Ives here today in this qualifying session. As the Franklin Motorsports Merlin there as well. One of the Bennett machines with Royce Vega there. Josh Bergman there as well. So a lot of these drivers cycling through, and let's see what this qualifying session looks like. When they cross the start, we're going to run you down your entire field here in this Mini Swift class. About 30 drivers, I believe a little bit more than that here this weekend, but an absolute packed house here this weekend, Simon. I mean, we drove up here this morning. You look through the paddock. It's fence line to fence line here on a big property of land here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Absolutely packed house for the second round of the Star Championship Series.
Yeah, 58-acre facility here in Spiceland, Indiana, and you see Parker Ives early in the session already catching the kart in front of him, a driver that's been so strong in the 2024 season with some dominant runs, not even needing to use the draft at times, the solo pace being enough to just up and run away from fields. We'll see what he does here, opting to stay behind the kart in front of him, look for a tow on this lap. I'm curious to see if he goes for any solo runs here later in the session.
Yeah, so there's Parker Ives in second. He's behind the Merlin of Cameron Johnson, then Enzo De Janeiro right behind him, Nico Katowski, Josh Bergman, Royce Vega, Isaac Payne, Cade Wolf, Holden Myers, Grayson Wolcott, Tucker Tribb, Valentino Santillan, Nicholas Mose, Marco Samet, Colton Schniegenberg, Bowen Green, Vigilio, Alex Kutcher, Braden Westfall, Asher Ferris, Simon Jack Klein, AJ Stoner, Bashi Jimenez, Lane Thigpen, Alyssa Eddy, Andrew Avalos, Ben Gleberman, Riley Dobelair, Emma Schumann, Robert Lash, Gage Harden, and Owen Gassion, the 32 drivers here this weekend in the Swift Stars. But Parker Ives now still, they were all able to get ahead there of Cameron Johnson in his Franklin Motorsports Merlin there. So let's see what this first lap time looks like for Parker Ives and Enzo De Janeiro. Nico Katowski, top of the timing screens, a 1:16.734. Royce Vega in the Bennett machine up to second. Tucker Tribb third. Josh Bergman P4, and Enzo De Janeiro running up your top five here at the moment, Simon. But they're really doing a really good job to keep it clean, find the track position, and for all these drivers, you know, Parker Ives had to make a move, finds himself in 10th, but everybody finding good track position here early on.
Yeah, and as we looked at the group out front, we've panned farther back now, but it was Katowski in the back of that group. In front of him was Ives and De Janeiro. So that's a three-kart train that I think is going to be pretty lethal here at the end of this session. Once they get up and running together, that's going to be a group to look for. Certainly on screen now, a move being made. That's the 133 of Royce Vega going through.
Yeah, Royce Vega, I thought he was quicker than Josh Bergman that time by. Wanted to go through, wanted to lead this group here with Cameron Johnson right behind. So they're going to continue to cycle through, and this is, I believe, one of the second national races for Cameron Johnson. He was out at Charlotte Motor Speedway last time out. So his second big national race, and I'm not sure if he was out there. We'll definitely confirm that. But Cameron Johnson, what's been doing a good job so far this weekend. So we'll definitely find the Johnson family and confirm for you guys later on. But Royce Vega, what did it look like that time by? Only P10. Nico Katowski able to go quicker, 116.071. Parker Ives second. Enzo DiGennaro third. Tucker Trigg still P4. And Bowen Green P5. Colton Schniegenberg currently sits in sixth on his return to the States after being in Italy for quite some time.
And the top three on track separated by 0.07 of a second. And those three, the group I mentioned earlier, Ives, DiGennaro, and Katowski. Katowski taking the provisional pole position from the back of the group as we still have 2 minutes and 17 seconds left on the clock. But these three karts certainly fired up early with 2.5 tenths clear of the rest of the field. So that's a 16.07 for Katowski from the third kart in this group. DiGennaro and Ives in front of them. Very, very quick pace from the front of this group. And these are the drivers that went out from the front. They didn't hang around. They just went out, took off, found their three-driver train, and got to work.
Yeah, and it's definitely working out for them here. The fastest driver is the U-Race machine right behind Enzo DiGennaro. So what does it look like this time by when they cross the stripe? And there you see some hand signals from some of those mechanics wanting to switch it around here. Katowski doesn't improve, neither does Parker Ives, and Enzo DiGennaro doesn't either. Does Royce Vega improve? Not enough here for Royce Vega, only P10. Josh Bergman as well, currently 14th. Valentino Santillan 15th. So for these drivers, really need to find the track position and really need to find the space or the pace here in the closing stage of this qualifying session. A minute and 15 seconds to go left in this qualifying session. So going to need to put everything out. And there you saw the signals from, I believe that was one of the RPM mechanics telling Parker Ives to cycle behind Nico Katowski and Enzo DiGennaro to try and get a tow and try and see what these drivers are doing differently to what he's doing. Certainly
smart, as he does have incredible pace from the front of this field, but that just bit of tow from the drivers behind able to establish that 0.06 of a second advantage between Katowski and Ives. So Ives going to try his hand at getting a draft and seeing if he can't improve with just one lap remaining, using this lap to set his gap. Nice little 5-kart space in between him and the drivers in front. Katowski, the driver, now right in front of him. So we'll see if Ives can set up a big lap as they come to 1 to go this time by.
Yeah, going to be a burner lap there. You see Ryan Perry telling Parker Ives to be as smooth as he can. This is going to be the last go around here for these drivers. 20 seconds left in this qualifying session. The 7 minutes are almost up, and some of these drivers are going to get the checkered flag this time by, with the time continuing to run out here. This is at Parker Ives. If he wants to start on the pole position here, going to need to pull a lap out of the bag here, Simon.
And one thing to note, the drivers in front of him, both Katowski and DiGennaro opting to fall back and not give Ives the tow for this last lap. And in return, Ives bailing on that lap as well. So that's going to be the end of the run for Parker Ives. He's not going to improve this time by. I don't think he's still going to be pushing, but I thought I saw him slow down out of the hairpin. He's now got DiGennaro right behind him. So games being played at the front of this group. All of the top three opting to back off on this last lap.
Yeah, and that really, really hurt Parker Ives here, who I think is going to dive into the pits, and he doesn't. So let's see what it looks like for Parker Ives. He has one more go in a couple of corners to really find some time if he wants to start on the pole position. It looks like Royce Vega and company are lapping pretty quick here in this final lap. So what does it look like for Parker Ives, Enzo DiGennaro, and others? Can anybody deny Nico Katowski and his U-Race machine? Ives across the stripe this time by, does not improve. Katowski holds on. Does everybody else cycle through? Tree P4, Bowen Green P5, Marco Salmon up to 6th, Schniegenberg 7th. Everybody continuing to cycle through, and I'm not sure if it's going to be enough for anybody to deny Nico Katowski from a pole position. Everybody else cycling through. I don't want to speak too soon. Can anybody deny the U-Race machine? And I don't think so. Nico Katowski on the pole position in Swift Stars. What a qualifying session by that U-Race team. Starting on the pole position. He was going to start alongside Parker Ives here tomorrow, Simon. But congratulations to Nico Katowski. A pole position for him.
Yeah, Parker Ives coming home P2, only 0.06 of a second behind, and he was the driver leading the train for the most of the time, so he's the one that set the pace that Katowski used to set his pole lap. De Janeiro also part of that group, coming home P3, Tucker Tree P4, and Bowen Green rounding out your top 5 here in Mini Swift.
Yeah, we're going to run you down your rest of the field here as they continue to cycle through. But what a qualifying session, a couple of qualifying sessions that we had to this moment. You're watching Kart Chasers live coverage of the Stars Championship Series live from Newcastle Motorsports Park. Don't go anywhere as we get set to go green with the rest of our qualifying session.
USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at ParolinUSA.com.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Kart Class has done the hard work for you. We've traveled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Kart Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack. Pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit kartclass.com to get your track information.
And welcome back to round 2 of the Stars Championship Series, King of the Castle, here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. We're live here at Kart Chaser for today's qualifying coverage. On track now is KA Stars Group B for qualifying. So this is the second half of the order from happy hour earlier today. And I'm joined in the booth by Caleb Vieska, live and in person.
Yeah, I feel like you're joining me in the booth because you usually find yourself either racing or down pit reporting or something else. So Simon's joining me in the booth here this weekend. But all jokes aside, this KA Stars qualifying session getting set to go underway. There you have Hudson Brown right behind Noah Jackson, the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic. Aiden Shimbashi in that group there as well as a couple of the other JMF factory karts there who are working together here at the moment. Shimbashi, one of those drivers, as well as others, but already some lap time starting to come through. We're already a couple of minutes down in this qualifying session, 2 minutes around there down. I'm not best with math, but we have 4 minutes to go. That's as far as I know. We're 3 minutes down, 4 minutes to go left in this qualifying session as they continue to cycle through. Shimbashi wanting to go ahead that time by of Hudson Brown. He's able to get clear, but they continue to cycle through here. In this group, 27 drivers total here, Simon.
And as they continue to cycle through, I continue to see karts dropping tires off the exit of corners. So this reverse layout, once again, catching drivers just a little bit off guard, pushing for the most, and they just cross that edge just a little bit, and suddenly you've got dirt all over your tire in the next couple of corners or slow. So lap 1 in the books here for KA Stars Group 2. Group B, as more drivers dropping tires out in the dirt. That's going to affect all of these 90-degree corners coming up for them as they get to the end of the lap. Maybe they'll be ready to go for the next lap, but you are running that risk as you get closer and closer to the end of the lap.
And whenever you think about the racing action that we're going to see tomorrow, it starts to create a little bit of a drop-off on the track, right? You start seeing that dirt starting to dig deeper and deeper. The tires, whenever you drop one, that it's going to start to create a little bit of a pothole kind of on the outside of the racetrack. So definitely not what you need. And you know, as more and more drivers continue to go off, it's going to create that little bit of a drop-off there. As let's run through your field here at the moment. Frederick Manning, quickest, a 112.875. Will Steele, currently P2. TJ Coyne, P3. Alex Murray was P4, but he falls back to P5 as CJ Bowman finds himself top of the timing charts here at the moment in the 928 there. Who's going to get through? That's the MPG Academy driver, and the 907 not too happy there, but Bowman, it was a little bit quicker and wanted to get through and continue to set in his lap times.
Yeah, so on your screen now, Bowman coming in to the scoreboard hairpin. Looking good in that MPG Motorsports machine. Kart Republic powering that chassis as he comes through this section, working on his lap, 2/10 clear of the field as it stands, but we are only on lap 2, so expect the times to improve as the session continues. Still 2 minutes remaining, so we'll see 2 or 3 more laps for the drivers here in Group B. And as Bowman continues to work his way around the track, he'll be quickly replaced by Noah Jackson at the top of the boards. Noah on his 3rd lap goes to a 112.594, pushing him 0.05 of a second over Bowman, who is currently on your screen now as he looks to complete his 3rd lap of this qualifying session. I'm expecting to see 2 more laps from him, so typically on average we're getting 5 laps per qualifying session here at Newcastle Motorsports Park.
Yeah, 5 laps. Lap time's looking around the 112s. Probably be lower for the qualifying A group here with a minute and a half to go, so he's probably going to get 2 laps like you said here. Wasn't able to improve last time by, but drops a tire there, and that's not going to help out his lap this time by, Simon.
Yeah, and we keep talking about this. We're going to be talking about it all weekend as these drivers look to conquer this reverse layout of Newcastle Motorsports Park. The last thing I want to say here at the moment is there's 2 costs to this. You have the initial 2 or so tenth loss on the initial dip of the tire, but the residual loss comes from the next 2-3 corners where you're trying to get the tire back up to speed again. And Bowman, luckily early in the lap, this lap's probably not going to be the heater he would like, but it'll give him the 5th and final lap to try and improve. He improved last time by, but only by a couple of hundredths. Won't go to the top of the boards, but look who will. Cameron Estes on lap number 4, a 112.57 now at the top of the charts.
Yeah, so good lap that time by for the 964 of Cameron Estes to go top of the timing screens here in this qualifying B session here for the KA Stars category, as a couple of other drivers further back there. Continuing to cycle through the 928 of CJ Bowman. As we were talking about that, goes top of the timing screens here, 112.396. A pretty good lap that time by Bowman in the MPG Academy Kart Republic here. So as we try and find who goes quicker and who goes quicker here, we're going to cycle through as we look for CJ Bowman now, who just went top of the timing screens. It goes through there, but the checker flag is out this time by, Simon.
I have to eat my words a little bit because he did improve on that lap even after dropping a tire. So obviously the pace quick in that kart. We'll see if this 5th and final lap can be even more of an improvement. He may have a bit of a toe just in front of him. I don't know if he's going to catch the driver by the end of the lap, but this could be the difference maker here. Just a little bit of toe may push him farther up the field. And as you're sitting on pole, you're not just looking for pole in this group, but you want to set the best time possible so that it stands through the next group. So Bowman looking for the absolute most here. He's going to catch the kart about 3 kart lengths back, heading into the last couple of corners, a few 90-degree turns, not quite enough to get to his bumper, so it's not going to compromise the lap. As we look to see CJ Bowman finish his final lap of the session, will he improve? Is Estes at the top currently? Bowman improves, but only slightly. Still P2. Cameron Estes on that 5th and final lap, a 112.20. Currently the top time. Out of Group B, we'll wait to see what Group A does, but still drivers to cross. We're going to hold our tongues just for a second. But Cameron Estes with a strong time to go to the top of the boards.
Yeah, pretty good. And when you look at the qualifying session Ty Fisher had from that slower group, I mean, a lot of these drivers could have faced some type of issues in the happy hour session, so they're looking to find that lap time that they need. This is your rundown here. Your top 5, Cameron Estee, CJ Bowman, Noah Jackson, Ben Gaunt, and Christian Menezes find himself in the top 5 here at the moment, but still the quicker group of the qualifying of the happy hour session, I should say, is getting set to go out onto the racetrack now with the likes of Alan Isambard, James Overbeck, who's been super quick, still looking for his maiden, not his maiden national podium, because he was able to get a podium after a big loop in the air at the SCUSA Pro Tour in the opening round in Orlando, where we saw him hit one of the cones that was there in that chicane. When a full 360 in the air and was able to put it on the podium. He is the reigning champion in this KA Stars, but he's still looking for his maiden national win. He's had a good year so far, James Overbeck, but still looking for that maiden national win and to get it done here this week.
Yeah, and as you see the rest of the karts coming into pit lane from Group B, the finishing order on your screen now. This is provisional, and as you will see, the next group will come out. It'll cycle the order a little bit farther down as the drivers who were fastest from happy hour are about to take the track in KA Stars. Caleb mentioned a few. We'll cover the rest as they come out on track, but just to cover the end of this session, let's see how it wrapped up. A 1:12.20 was our top time. We're going to wait and see where that stacks up against the faster group, Group A, as they come out on track. But I have a feeling it could be pretty strong as we watch some geese out by the lake, Caleb.
And these are actually Canadian geese, so they probably came down with the JMF factory kart team down from Canada. As you see the Canadian geese here, a long haul for them here to Castle Motorsports Park. But yeah, you see the Canadian geese all there, and the JMFs there. It looks like they either brought them with them or those geese followed them all the way down here from Canada. We saw David Land do a pretty cool segment with them last year, and you see them returning here. And yesterday there wasn't too many, as there were a lot of people out there fishing. And that's one of the cool things when we come out here to Newcastle, right? A lot of kids here on that Thursday, off day that they have, they're able to go out there and fish and either catch some fish. A lot of drivers said that they caught a couple of fish. Some said 6, others said 7. I caught 20 fish, but you can't really trust these kids these days. They like to say stuff, but I went out there, tried to do a little fishing on my own. I'm not good, and I don't have the patience for it, Simon.
Well, I've certainly seen plenty of people fish out of the lake, and I've also had the great privilege of seeing a few karts end up there too.
Yeah.
Not necessarily on this layout, but coming the other direction, it certainly can go a little bit wrong. You might end up in the water. So we're still waiting on KA Stars Group A to hit the track, watching the scale line continue. A few drivers, fathers, mechanics, whatnot up on the fence. Just chatting with their drivers about how that session went here, Caleb.
Yeah, and I tell you what, speaking of that little pond or lake, whatever you want to call it, the weather is it's pretty hot out here, some winds, but if you get too hot or want to take a dip, or if we want to go swimming later on today here, Simon, it's definitely good, to get a little workout in, swim from back and forth in that pond as swim around with some of the geese there, but. Newcastle Motorsports Park, one of the tracks that we go to that we love coming here, and that we're going to come here so much this summer for the start of the KC Summer Series here. Starting here this weekend, a lot of kids already getting out of school, being able to race a lot more often, maybe sacrifice a vacation with the family to come out here and race and have some fun and contend for some hardware here.
Yeah, certainly. Newcastle, one of the places we love coming to, an iconic American staple in karting here in the U.S. So a great facility. It's been that way for many, many years, and many to continue, as we'll continue with coverage here momentarily live on Kart Chaser.
All testing has shown that the physics engine used in SimCraft's Grid 1 model convinces 90% of the human brain that you are actually on track. Now that is the real deal.
Brandon, Why are there all these charges for just over $200 from Acceleration Kart Racing's website?
That's because AKR gives you free shipping on orders of $200 or more within the continental US.
Okay, but I thought you were just getting a pair of gloves. That's what, 70 bucks?
But if I'm getting a new pair of gloves, I might as well get a new pair of shoes to match. And then on top of that, I'll get a neck brace because with the shipping, it's basically free.
Yeah, I do not think the math checks out on that.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free for orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Spend responsibly. Shop AKR.com.
Are you ready to go fast? From road race to sprint race, 4-stroke, 2-stroke, club, regional, and national, DYL Kart Sport brings a family fun atmosphere. We're here to help you. We've already got plenty of hardware here to start 2024, and with team manager Rhett Thomas bringing years as a champion driver and tuner, we're ready to take you to the front. Inquire now to find out more about our Comp Kart Race Shop and team at dylkartsport.com or driveyourline.com.
And we're back live from Newcastle, Indiana for King of the Castle, round 2 of the Stars Championship Series here. KA Stars Group A hitting the track, and just a small delay from the scale line being so long from Group B. Lots of karts showing up here to race this week in big car counts across all of our categories, but especially here in KA Stars, Caleb.
Yeah, a lot of karts. I believe we have about over 50 here this weekend who are going to get set to go green, so we're going to see some drivers find themselves in the last chance qualifiers. We had 27 total in that first one, and I believe we're going to have about the same here in this second group of your KA Stars. Alexa Finnegan Bailiff in this group, Adam Maxwell, Lucas Zabo, Drew James, Mason Surgener, James Overbeck, your KA Stars reigning champ, Austin Olds for the MPG Academy team, Feldstein, and more who get set to go green. Brandon Lemke here as well, Alan Isambard, Addison Iannello, and more who get set to go green for this qualifying session. As we're going to follow around James Overbeck and a couple of others as they try and set in some lap times here early on.
Yeah, James Overbeck, one of the drivers that's been so impressive. Like we said, looking for that maiden national win. However, plenty of podiums, a lot of consistency has earned him a championship already. So we'll see if he can get that breakthrough win here this weekend. Another driver I want to focus on, want to see a bit more of is Brandon Lemke here. At this layout a year ago, 19th to 1st in the main in KA. So we'll see what he can do. Obviously very talented, a long history in karting, but especially good here at this track as the field cycles through, completing lap number 1 of qualifying, the first green flag lap as karts come to the line. We'll see what kind of times we're looking at. It was a 1:12.2, the top time from group number 1, and already we are seeing times closing in on that. Lemke, lap number 1, a 1:12.29. So already only 900s off on his outlap from topping the entirety of Group B. Lots of strong drivers in this field. Walney up to P2, Alan Isambard in P3 right now. Mick Gabriel now to the top of the boards.
Yeah, and I tell you what about Brandon Lemke. I mean, 2 weeks ago, really impressed everybody whenever he put it up to second in the X30 Pro main event at the United States Pro Kart Series at Trackhouse Motorplex, and that really helped him out a lot. It looks like he got a lot of confidence out of that one. Looked really happy. I think the happiest that I've seen him racing in that X30 class here. So Brandon, that's going to give him a lot of confidence coming in here this weekend, going back to the KA class here this weekend. But definitely one of the drivers to watch. I mean, whenever the Route 66 Championship Series came out here a couple of weeks ago, he was able to take the win by a pretty good gap. So let's see what it looks like this weekend for Brandon Lemke. Definitely one of the favorites here, as well as Mick Gabriel, a driver who's always quick around this place. And for that AEM OTK, let's see what it looks like. Everybody crossing the stripe this time by. Overbeck to the top of the timing screens here, 1:12.129. Gabriel P2 here, Olds P3, Eli Warren, the hometown kid here, P4. Brandon Lemke P5, and Jackson Warney for the rookie who's first, I guess, full season in the senior class here at the Stars Championship Series. Finds himself P6. Finnegan Bailiff for the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic team was P7 for a moment. Falls back to 10th here as Mick Gabriel to the top of the timing screens here, 1:11.404. And you see those laps get quicker and quicker, almost a second quicker than than the first qualifying group for these KA Stars.
Yeah, so Mick Gabriel, a part of 3 karts that hung around a little bit late, running on their own at the back of the field. Most likely they will not see all 5 laps, probably only 4 for that group of 3, but currently all 3 of them to the top. Mick Gabriel over Luke Powers and Vaughn Beasley. 0.08 of a second separate those 3 drivers, and then it's another 0.2 back to Eli Warren in P4. We'll see if anybody in the front of this field can put up a fighting chance. We saw Overbeck leading the group from in front, and Brandon Limke the opposite, stuck in the middle there with Jackson Wolney fighting through a mass of karts. So as they have completed 2 laps, we'll look to see lap number 3, what it brings typically when the kart starts to be at its best through the qualifying session.
Yeah, so there you saw Mick Gabriel move to the wayside, let Luke Powers go through. Eli Warren went through as well, and if I'm not mistaken, that could have been Vaughn Beasley in between them, who was able to go through as well, and I think it was. So they're all crossing the line now. Powers leading this group, Vaughn Beasley there, and you see them really a strategy for these 3 drivers there, kind of towing off of each other, giving each other the tow, and there you see it looked like Luke Powers hurt the lap of Eli Warren that time by staying on the inside, and Eli just lost a little bit of time, but for these drivers, yeah, they're all teammates for the War Power team in operation here this weekend. Only 3 drivers here, and seeing them around the paddock, they all decided to shave their heads here for this weekend. A little bit of team bonding for the War Power team here, but already sitting in some pretty good lap time. James Overbeck getting sets across the line this time by. So let's see what it looks like for James Overbeck. If I'm not mistaken, it looks like Adam Maxwell right behind him as well. Wolney there, as a couple of the other Trinity Karting Group Kart Republics there cycle through these last couple of corners. Does anybody improve? Does anybody get up there and further up the timing charts? Not as enough. Alan Isambard, Mr. April, was up in a P5. Not close enough. Oliver Hodgson in the comp cart up to P5 here in the 954. So for Oliver Hodgson already some pretty good lap times. Mick Gabriel, it was a burner lap for him last time by. He was able to reposition. Does it look good enough this time by? Looks like he's going to catch some traffic there to Vaughn Beasley as he caught him up a little bit too soon. Gabriel doesn't improve. Luke Powers doesn't improve either. Neither does Vaughn Beasley. So they really need to get on with it here and find the perfect track position, as this is going to be their final go around. 13 seconds, 10 seconds left in this qualifying session here, Simon.
And Eli Warren leading the 3 that are in front of him on the timing screen, actually on track. So he is towing around the 3 quickest drivers. He currently sits P4, but the drivers behind him fighting on this last lap. Maybe not the best exit there for Luke Powers, and we'll see a pass attempt coming in just behind him as these drivers working the last and final lap of qualifying for all of the KA Stars. This is Group A. This is the fastest group from Happy Hour. We'll see what it has to offer. Can anyone topple Mick Gabriel?
Maxwell crosses the line, only 9th. Overbeck only 10th. Alan Isambard 6th. Josh Campbell to the top of the timing screens here in the 927 BJR MDRLN cart, a 111.403. Can anybody improve? Gabriel is in the pits. He's currently 2nd. Luke Powers looks like he went in as well. So does anybody else? Can anybody else improve here in this qualifying session? A couple of drivers cycling through, and I don't think anybody going to be able to go through, and a couple of drivers further back in the field here, Simon.
And we'll wait to see who all crossed the checkered. I know Mick Gabriel was part of that group that caught the checker early, only getting 4 laps in the books. It looks like most of the rest of the field has gotten 5, so I believe that will be everybody who has officially crossed. And if you look at the timing on the top left of your screen, 1/1000th of a second difference between your top 2. Josh Campbell sneaking one through on the last lap. Gets it done in KA Stars.
What a showing for Josh Campbell, who won here last year at the King of the Castle in that KA 100 senior category here. And Josh Campbell is I guess, the reigning King of the Castle from last year. He did it with the Ryan Perry Motorsports team, moved teams over the winter, moved to the Ryan Perry Motorsports camp, and already to the top here for Josh Campbell. 111.403. He's on the pole position here in KA Stars. Mick Gabriel there 2nd, Luke Powers 3rd, Vaughn Beasley 4th, Eli Warren P5, Oliver Hodgson P6, Alan Isambard P7 for Mr. April, Jackson Wolney P8, Marco Mastronzi, P9. Adam Maxwell rounding up your top 10. And for the reigning champ, James Overbeck, 11th. Drew James, 12th. Finnegan Bailiff, 13th. Brandon Lemke, only 14th here, but you cannot count out that with the Wisconsin Wonder Kid here. And there's no hardware and this Friday afternoon. It all comes on the Sunday, and that's where you crown the king of the castle. And for Brandon Lemke, still a lot of work to do, but going to have to make moves. Who's technically going to start 7th for all of his heat races tomorrow. So a pretty good qualifying session there. Alex Fieldson running up your top 15 here.
And I know that's probably not the session that Brandon Lemke would have wanted, but we know how strong his racecraft is. Yeah. We know he knows how to make his way from the back to the front, and only starting 7th in those heat races, he's going to be able to have his chance to drive up and start at the front of the field for the final later on this weekend. And one thing I want to note on our top time from Group B, a 1:12.20 will be P22 after everything is set with Group A. So the most of Group A going quick enough to displace the entirety of Group B. Only a few drivers behind that of the drivers in Group B as we look to wrap up our KA Stars qualifying. Massive, massive job from Josh Campbell. 1/1000th of a second separating our top 2.
Yeah, now on the racetrack here, your OKNJ category with, I believe, around 10 drivers total. And on his return to the States, the 10-year-old there leading this group, Lucas Palacio. Welcome back to the U.S. here after he's had a pretty good showing over in Europe so far to start this year. And making his debut here in the junior category in the OKNJ. We spoke to him a little bit today. He looks pretty confident, looks happy to be back here in the U.S., seeing some familiar faces, seeing some old friends that he's seen, and he's had a really, really good time overseas, already getting some wins to his name.
Yeah, a very, very young, talented driver. Lucas Palacio is under the age minimum for this category, but a waiver was issued for him to compete. He's been successful in everything he's ever touched. He jumped up to the mini category early from micro, but I have to say that the mini category, the jump from that, much less of a difference than the jump from mini to junior. So micro to mini, you're staying in the same chassis, the same size chassis, only changing a bit of the power plant. Here in the junior category, we have a whole new kart to work with. It's much bigger. You go from being normal size in the kart, and at 10 years old, he probably feels pretty small in a big junior kart. And with a massively fast OKNJ power plant, an entirely new experience for this young driver.
Yeah, so good to see Lucas Palacio here as well. Forrest Adams, his debut in the OKNJ class this weekend in the 108. Max Weiland in the 118 for the Magic Kart team. Davin Roberts in the 115. Michael McGoy in the 161. Tyrone Kemper Jr. in the 177. Chase Gassey-Lee in the 113 National Motorsports Machine. Isaac Malkwood in the 175. Gage Korn in the 133. And John Antonino in the 193 for the MPG Academy camp here this weekend. But the first lap is getting set to go underway. Palacio leads them away as Max Weiland there drops a tire. And like you've been saying all weekend long, Simon, this is one of the big stories is Palacio drops the tire that time by, but it seemed like it didn't slow him down too much.
Yeah, it was just a little nib of the dirt there as he puts that left rear just a bit wide on the exit of that 90. Someone else farther behind kicking up a bit of dust, and we'll see as the second official lap crosses, I believe that was actually the first, I was correct. Lucas Palacio still at the top, 1:09.37. So compared to our KA Stars, who are running lap times in the 1:11 category, this for a junior category, very, very quick in the 1:09 bracket, a full 2 seconds quicker than our air-cooled senior category. So these kids are getting to experience some real speed in the go-kart, and especially Lucas for his first time at 10 years old. Probably a lot to take in. Currently leading the field of 10 drivers here at Newcastle.
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, when we spoke to him yesterday, he had only ever tested an X30 Junior, which is very different to what you see than the OKNJ package, right? I mean, you have to be super. You have to wait a little bit on the throttle. You can't really push the kart all the way. Whenever you get out of a corner, you have to be patient with it because we know it doesn't have as strong bottom end like the X30 Junior package has. So for Palacio, it's been a learning experience, dealing with reeds, keeping them in the car, which is one of the biggest things that we saw at the opening round, right? A lot of mechanical issues that plagued this OKNJ class. But at the moment, I mean, for Palacio, it seems like he learned, and he learned quick. A 1:09.017, 2/10 quicker than the field.
And Antonino improving as well. It went from about a half-second advantage over the field down to 2.5 tenths. Antonino with a 1:09.26. He is closing in on Palacio, but Palacio still 2/10 the good. And another thing I want to mention about this OKNJ package, or the OKNs as a whole, when we're talking about something that has a much stronger top end of its power range than the bottom, you really have to focus on that roll speed. That's something that Lucas will be strong at, coming from the mini and micro categories, which don't have as much power. You really have to roll this cart across the center, be good at keeping those minimum speeds up. It translates obviously very well into the OKN package, where you want to keep that roll speed up and let the cart get back to the power range it's strong at quicker. So Max Weiland out front of this group currently. He drops the tire on exit. He's got one behind him, and we'll see what lap 3 has to offer for these drivers.
Yeah, Tyrone Kemper Jr. there in tow with Max Weiland. Palacio doesn't improve last time by. Does anybody else? Gassiet Lee goes a little bit better. P3 for Chase Gassiet Lee. Davin Roberts, a 112 here last time by. Has some sort of issue here. And then John Antonino out of nowhere, a 108.886 for the MPG Academy driver. A good lap time, a flying lap time for John Antonino, who has good track position here at the moment, as he's there right behind Isaac Malquit there, who finds himself in third here. So these two drivers lapping just as quick as Lucas Palacio is, but the difference from Palacio to these two, they have a little bit of a draft here.
Yeah, certainly, and that will help for sure, especially given these long straights. While it's more important in the KA in many categories, you can still get an advantage even in these higher horsepower categories just because of how long the straights here are at this facility. And you see the two MPG carts working together, currently P1 and P3 on track. The staff at MPG will be very pleased to see this performance out of their two junior drivers as they come through the last couple of corners on this lap. They're going to get one more lap, so lap 4 in the books, and returning driver to the top, Lucas Palacio, back on top with that lap, but not for long. Isaac Malquit for MPG Motorsports in that number 175 machine, a 1-0. He is a Brella. I apologize. They look very similar on the screen to me.
Very similar. But Isaac Malquit in the 175 goes to the provisional pole position. They're all going to get one more lap around Newcastle Motorsports Park to crown the pole sitter here at the King of the Castle here for the Star Championship Series. It looks like it could be one more go around. It is going to be close though for Lucas Palacio. Time continuing to dwindle down. It says 5 seconds here on our timing screens. Let's see what Justin Dittrich says. Does he have the checkered flag in his hand? He does. This is going to be the last go-around and the last try for Lucas Palacio. Isaac Malquit holds on to it here at the moment, but let's take a look at Lucas Palacio, who's about to cross the last couple of corners into turn number 13. He goes through now. There's Lucas Palacio on your screen. Can he deny Isaac Malquit? Across the line this time by for Palacio. Back to the top of the timing screens. A 108.492. Isaac Malquit further back in the field. He's getting set to cross this time by a 108.630. Does Isaac Malquit have anything in the back to deny him? He does not. Antonino doesn't either. Lucas Palacio, in his first race in junior, puts it on the pole position in OKNJ.
And in his return from Europe, his first race back in the States, on pole, the 10-year-old Lucas Palacio, massively talented driver in his first time driving any junior package. This extremely quick OKNJ he has mastered very quickly, a 108.492, the lap he sets at the end of the session. The 5th and final lap does it for Lucas Palacio. A tight battle between him, Malquit, and Antonino over who would get that pole position, and in the end, Palacio comes out on top. A strong run for Malquit there in P2, Antonino P3, Max Weiland P4, and Chase Gassiet Lee, your top 5, Caleb.
What a qualifying session for these OKNJs here today. But Lucas Palacio, what a drive and what a start to his junior career here in the States. Isaac Malquit tried to deny him, wasn't enough there in the end. And you see the height difference in between some of the other junior drivers and Lucas Palacio, who's almost a helmet shorter than the rest of his fellow comrades in this OKNJ class. But it was pretty close, and they absolutely delivered here. That was an action-packed end to your semi-pro categories here. When we come back from this quick commercial break, it's going to be ready and green with your OKN pros and your pro shifters here coming your way next. We are live from Newcastle Motorsports Park for the second round of the Stars Championship Series, the King of the Castle. So we'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Sprocket. I need some more chain lube, and I need it probably as soon as like tomorrow. Dude, are you even listening? Like, we need this to run this weekend.
Want anything else?
What do you mean?
I already got it in the car on Acceleration Kart Racing's online store, bro. All orders over $200 get free shipping.
Oh, throw in a set of tires.
Done.
Everything you need, all in one place and shipped to your door for free on orders of $200 or more. Exclusions apply. Shop AKR.com.
Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
Parolin USA, a top-level performance team with unmatched hospitality, offering a full-service driver development program with year-round testing available in Miami, Florida, and the official North America racing team of Parolin Racing Chassis. Chassis and parts available at parolinusa.com.
Are you looking for an advantage in your competition? Well, Kart Class has done the hard work for you. We've traveled to your racetracks to give you the inside knowledge. So what does Kart Class offer? We've got drone footage that captures the racing lines, visual markers for your braking points, acceleration zones, and the best overtake opportunities on your racetrack, pedal cam to show you where to brake and when to accelerate, and 360-degree footage to make sure you don't miss any parts on the racetrack. We've covered 13 racetracks in the United States, and Australia, you're up next. So visit kartclass.com to get your track information.
Welcome back to Newcastle Motorsports Park after what was an action-packed OKNJ qualifying session. There you see Gage Korn with Lucas Palacio, Isaac Malquit, and John Antonino. I mean, Simon, what a qualifying session there. And for the young 10-year-old here, with a waiver to race in his junior class, I mean, really set in a really, really good start to his junior career here in the States.
Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing bad to say about Lucas Palacio, a fantastic driver in everything we've seen him drive, and just reinforcing that with his performance here in OKNJ qualifying. And what a fight it was. I mean, he was not at the top the whole time. He was being challenged every lap for that top position. So at the end of it all, he comes out on top. You see the size difference between the 10-year-old and his competitors, as he's faster than he is tall. I will say that. But as our next category beginning to take the track here, what an exciting couple of classes we have coming your way, starting off with OKN.
Yeah, it's time for the pro show here. Your OKN, your pro OKN stars are on the racetrack now with a couple of drivers here. We're gonna identify everybody: Diego Ramos, Mingman Zhu, Paulie Massimino, and Caleb Gaffera there. Paulie Massimino, your round one winner. Gaffera, who was super quick all weekend long, but just couldn't get it done and into the top three in the final there at the end of the opening round at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So let's see what it looks like for all these drivers here. Massimino, your winner from the opening round, and this is a qualifying session here, and this is really going to define who starts on the pole position here, and then in the pre-final it's all going to switch around. But Paulie Massimino has had a good showing so far in this OKN class after a late entry for him at the opening round, and got it done and was able to come away with the win here, Simon.
Yeah, and Pro Stars here, unlike KA Stars, all in one group, no split groups. Whoever comes out on top after these 5 minutes of green flag running will be your provisional pole sitter here in your OKN Stars. Paulie Massimino coming down the front straight into turn number 1, not going to make the move that time by. And this is his first flying lap, and another driver right in front of him, the number 67, Aming Nanzu, dropping a tire on exit. Paulie's going to go into the bowl.
Yeah, unfortunately there for Ming, dropping a tire. Who spoke to him earlier, just been looking for pace all weekend long as well on his A&M machine. But for Massimino, already going through, Hyoping Zhang makes his return to the pro category here this weekend. Aiden Lorenko here as well. Theo Pirelli, Daniel Piercy, Kekai Haunino in his debut in this OKN class with the GWR Gary Willis-based team. Henry Wheeler here, I guess, runner-up in last year's championship here with the number 2 plate. Brandon Carr not making the return, and I believe won't return to the Stars Championship Series here this year, unfortunately, for Brandon Carr. So he's not here this weekend. But for all these drivers continue to cycle through, Josh Holtz, Nick Terlecki is back, as well as Aiden Fox and others. Terlecki, top of the timing screens here early on. 4.5 minutes still to go. Diego Ramos able to go even quicker, a 108.999 for Diego Ramos. Terlecki second, Massimino third, Caleb Gaffera P4, Peyton Phillips running up your top 5 here so far, Simon.
Yeah, and this just being lap 1, everyone getting out there, getting sorted, feeling out their equipment, and deciding how hard they can push their tire to get to that pole position. Currently, Ramos the fastest out lap and first lap so far, coming across at a 108.99, the only driver under that 109 second bracket, but we will see that quickly change as the tires continue to heat up and reach their peak. I'm expecting lap 3, lap 4, we're going to see some really, really strong times. Ramos in a really good position spacing-wise on track. He's got a little bit of a toe in front of him. It's not quite getting in his way just yet. It could by the end of this lap, and there are certainly a lot of karts in front of him, so that could be an issue. He'll catch that kart quicker than I expected. That's the number 34 of Shea Aldrich, so it's going to impede this lap slightly. We'll see what he does to manage his track position and set himself up for some quick laps later.
Yeah, and I mean, for Diego Ramos, he's come oh so close to a race win around Castle Motorsports Park over the last 2 years. His last one being back in Orlando for the Rotax World Qualifiers earlier this year in January, later on in the year. I believe that was February about when he got that win, but Diego Ramos looks to go back to the top. He's really quick so far already. A 1-2 for the PSL Burrell Art team here this weekend in this qualifying session. A 108.738 for Ramos and a 108.797 for Henry Wheeler. There you see Aiden Fox and Josh Holtz towing each other around and pushing each other forward. But already a good start to this OKN qualifying session so far for Peyton Phillips. Unfortunately for him, ended his first race in the opening round at the Queen City Gambit in the main event. He was super quick all weekend long, but just in the end, a mechanical put him out of contention in the main event. And a couple of other drivers, Aiden Fox, mechanical issues for him as well. Looks to go even better than what he did at the opening round here this weekend. And we can't forget Aiden Fox. You're king of the castle last year.
Yeah, definitely. Something to keep in mind is who succeeded here last year at this facility. We'll see if they can hold that same success into 2024. On your screen, Nick Terlecki, currently top of the boards, a 108.390, gives him just about a tenth of a second over Paulie Massimino, who we saw come through those last couple of corners. But Terlecki out to the early advantage. 3 laps in the book, most likely 2 left to go. Can anyone top that time? Now's when the tires are at their best. These next 2 laps are going to be key in determining who is on pole. Can anyone topple Terlecki? That is the question. We'll find out in the next minute and 22 seconds. seconds.
And Terlecki was so close to a race win at the Charlotte Motor Speedway as well, and unfortunately for him, it all just collapsed for him in the last couple of laps. Can he start off right here? Drops the tire. That's a big off by Nicholas Terlecki there. That's going to be a burner lap time, and it looks like one more lap and one more go-around this time by for Nicholas Terlecki, Simon.
And that was near the end of that lap, so we'll see if he's got his tires ready as he starts his next lap. Now you still see the dirt on the sidewall of that tire. Are the tires back and ready to push for this final lap, or will that have ruined his entire qualifying in its entirety? He still sits at the top of the boards by 0.07 of a second, but Caleb Gaffar closing in only 71 thousandths of a second behind. 6 thousandths of a second quicker than Massimino moves Caleb Gaffar in that number 54 machine up to P2.
So this is his driver here, Terlecki, on the provisional pole position here. He's going to be the first driver to cross the stripe this time by. Checkered flag will be out this time as well. We only have 20 seconds left in this qualifying session. It's not going to be enough for Terlecki to get another lap in. This is going to be it. It has to be perfect for Nicholas Terlecki if he wants to hold on to the pole position here in Pro Stars qualifying. Can Terlecki hold on to it for the Hotes Driver Development Camp? He shakes his head, doesn't think it's going to be enough to improve. Ramos looks to be on a flyer further back. I think he caught traffic, but for Terlecki into the last couple of corners, can he improve? Can he go even quicker than what he did a couple of laps ago? Terlecki across the stripe this time by, does not improve. Now we look at the checkered flag. Does anybody go quicker? Wheeler doesn't. Diego Ramos does. A 108.189 for the Brazilian. Massimino up to second. Terlecki falls back to third. And for Diego Ramos, who's come oh so close to a couple of race wins here at Newcastle Motorsports Park, he gets it done in qualifying. A 108.189 for the Brazilian. Top of the timing screens, gets it done in qualifying.
A big last lap there to knock Terlecki off the top. Clears him by 0.2 of a second and brings Pauly Massimino with him. Pauly back by 0.17 and another driver who bumped up, Wesley Gunler, up to P4 on that fifth and final lap. 0.25 of a second out from pole, but a very, very good job from the number 46 of Wesley Gunler. Caleb Gaffar closes out in P5, Henry Wheeler P6, Shea Aldrich up to P7, a great drive there. Peyton Phillips in P8, Aiden Fox P9, Josh Holtz rounding out your top 10. Farther back, Aiden Marinko P11, Ben Hernandez P12, Kekai Juanio P13, and then it is Theo Corelli P14, Mingnan Zhu P15, Hopang Zhang P16, and rounding out your field, riding shotgun, Daniel Piercy. And that is the 17 drivers for your OKN Stars category. You see them here in the scale line, getting out of their karts and thinking about how that session went for each and every one of them.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Nicholas Terlecki, it really just fell apart in the last two laps, dropped the tire, didn't have the tires back in the window that he needed in the final lap, and just unfortunate there for Nicholas Terlecki. But Diego Ramos, the Brazilian, finds himself starting on the pole position here, and it looks set to be a good weekend for that Burrell Art team. At one point, Henry Wheeler was up there in second for a bit. He's starting sixth, so on the third row in all the in both of the heat races tomorrow. So a good showing and a much better start to the weekend for Henry Wheeler this time out. For Peyton Phillips, the pole sitter in the main event, at the opening round, finds himself in eighth, so some work to do for him. Aiden Fox, a driver who we expected to be quick, being the race winner from last year at this same venue and this same track layout. We expect him to be further up the field, but only ninth this time out for Aiden Fox, and Josh Holtz as well, P10. But Diego Ramos, this is really what he needed, and this is going to give him a lot of confidence going into the rest of the weekend, Simon.
Yeah, an excellent start to the weekend. What better way to kick it off than being on pole? Outside him, Pauly Massimino. So your front row there having a chat about that session on your screen now. That is Diego Ramos in the red shirt and Pauly next to him in the black. Your front row for OKN Stars this weekend. Taking to the track next, our last and final session of the day will be your Pro Stars.
So here we have it, your Pro Stars. The shifters get set to go green for their qualifying session. I believe we have 30 shifter drivers here total this weekend, so a big field in the Pro Stars category with AJ Myers making his return. He's only lost I could really count on one hand, with the fingers on one hand, how many times he's lost around this place in the last 10 years. A.J. Myers, whenever you think about Newcastle Motorsports Park, you think about the Magic Kart, the Magic Man, and how good he's done around this place. He fell short of a race win last year at the Stars Championship Series, but he's been looking pretty good and the man to beat all weekend long. Justin White as well has had a pretty good weekend so far, and a couple of other drivers wanting to contend with A.J. Myers and Jay Irwin, who have been pretty quick so far this weekend, Simon.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we've got 30 karts, a big field for shifters here in the U.S. And not only that, we have heavy hitting names running here with us. Like you mentioned, A.J. Myers, one of the best shifter drivers over the past decade here. Jay Irwin with a strong run at the first event, but early issues for the number 222 machine. We'll see if he can get it started and fire it back up.
That's one of the Factory Fury GP machines there. He wasn't able to get going, so he finds himself with some work to do here to really get in some lap times. Chase Jones as well, getting into the seat here this weekend. Green flag is waving. Everybody crossing the stripe. Justin White, currently the first driver out there. Talon Yockel, Joseph Loney, Charlie Steins, Dane McMahon, Chris Verino, Noah Zars, Chase Jones, Nathan Nicholson, Miles Danoff, Logan Hickman, Vincenzo Saracino, Jay Irwin, Gavin Bailiff, and more here for this qualifying session. There's Vincenzo Saracino there on your screen. And when you think about the names, the manufacturers in this class, I mean, there's so many and so much variance in this class. But we saw a really close and very good racing action for the opening round at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. It was all about this kid right here on your screen. 15 years old, Jay Irwin, set the U.S. national scene by storm, took the win, put a gap on the field, beat the likes of A.J. Myers, Billy Musgraves, veterans of this shifter class. And when you think about the Stars Championship Series, when you think about what this kid has done so far this year, has impressed everyone, caught everyone by surprise, and he looks to do the same here at Newcastle Motorsports Park, a track that is it's been all about A.J. Myers in the last decade. Jay Irwin looks to deny that here this weekend.
At our last event in Charlotte at the Motor Speedway, Jay Irwin taking that victory. I said it was a bit of a boring race. I said it would have been a great race except for Jay Irwin, just because he was so good. He made it look easy. He led from the front, and it was never a race. There was no competition for him. Once he took that lead, he was gone and not looking back. We'll see what he does here at Newcastle Motorsports Park, a very different facility from the one we raced at in Charlotte. But the early lead goes to Vincenzo Saracino on that first lap.
Justin White. Wow, Justin White out of this qualifying session here. And I believe he wasn't even able to set in a lap. He's currently down in 29th. So Justin White, a lot of work to do for that Maranello USA Carbulos racing machine. Justin White, who finished third in the championship last year, finds himself all the way down in 29th. And that's where he's going to start both of the heat races. So unfortunate for Justin White here so far. Nathan Nicholson went top of the timing screens in the 256 machine. Not close enough. Everybody cycling through, and Jay Irwin back to the top of 106.106. Gavin Bailiff in the Kart Republic goes second.
Only 12 thousandths behind for Gavin Bailiff, so very close to Jay Irwin on that second lap. These karts, especially with the shifter package, the speeds they're carrying, will be wearing on those tires far more than the other classes. So we'll have to see where that peak comes in, where the tires start to fall off. But big lap to the top. The number 200 Magic Kart of A.J. Myers, a 1:05.553. Puts half a second on the field, Jay Irwin included, and that was lap number 2 for AJ. We'll see if he improves on that, but I'm expecting quick laps early in this category. They don't want to use the tire too much, so get in there, get it done, and then get out, and AJ has certainly done that. Lap number 2, putting half a second on his competitors.
And getting into that right window has been super critical in this shifter class. Jay's still not really pushing here, but let's see what this lap time looks like. He's about to cross the stripe this time by. Does Jay Irwin improve as the 207 finds himself off the racetrack there? Wow, that's Tegan Poles. So unfortunate for Tegan. The young lady finds herself down in 25th, so unfortunate for Tegan Poles. That time by. A.J. Myers wasn't able to improve. Billy Musgrave went second. Annie Rule up to second. A 106.022 for Annie Rule. What a lap time. Wow, and Ian Quinn goes back up to second.
Now there's 3 names we have yet to mention that are all very strong. Billy Musgrave First of all, popping up to P2 momentarily settles in to P4. That'll push Jay Irwin back to P5. What a lap from Annie Rule to put it up to P3. We'll see how that holds, if it can hold for a top 3 starting spot throughout the session, or maybe she improves even more. But Ian Quinn, the closest man to AJ Myers, 0.3 of a second back, so still a big gap for AJ, but a big lap for Ian Quinn, who showed out really strong at Charlotte, looking to continue on that momentum.
Yeah, so let's see what it looks like. Saraceno crossing the line now, as well as Jay Irwin as we follow along with AJ Myers. Saraceno crosses, not good enough. Irwin crosses the stripe, only 5th for Jay Irwin when he crossed the stripe that time by. Can AJ Myers go even quicker than he did the lap time before? 40 seconds left in this qualifying session as we get to the last couple of corners here, Simon.
We track him through the final couple of 90-degree corners as he comes to the start-finish. Now he will have one more lap. Presumably one more lap as he crosses the line.
He went purple last time by, a 105.508 for AJ Myers. Quinn's up to 2nd, Musgrave in 3rd, and everybody needing 0.2 of a second. Myers is going to pull off here in this one, and that's a 105.508, 0.2 quicker than the rest of the field here. They're going to have to pull something out of the bag if they want to deny AJ Myers.
That's a big lap from the Magic Man, AJ Myers, on your screen. Ian Quinn currently P2, 2,800s back. He also set a personal best at a 105.79, but I believe all the drivers are probably on cooldowns as of now. I know for sure AJ is. It looked like Ian was as well.
Jay Irwin's about to cross the line here. Simon's hard to interrupt, but what does Jay Irwin have in the bag? Can he deny AJ Myers? Checkered flag is out. Jay Irwin, not enough. 7th here in this qualifying session.
And Vincenzo Saraceno on that lap up to P2, knocking Ian Quinn off by 0.003 of a second. Vincenzo with an excellent run this qualifying session, up to P2, and now you see the checkered flag waving. Is there anyone else who can possibly take a shot at the Magic Man?
Not anybody as of yet, and that's going to be it here in this qualifying session. Nobody going to deny Mr. Newcastle himself, AJ Myers, on the pole position in Pro Stars. A good showing for the Maranello USA team. Vincenzo Saraceno up to 2nd, and a good showing for him. Ian Quinn, P3. Billy Musgrave, P4. Josh Conker, P5. Annie Rule, P6. A good qualifying session by Annie, who struggled at the opening round in Charlotte, and she's been talking about changing the name of King of the Castle to Queen of the Castle. Could this be the weekend for Annie Rule? Jay Irwin, P7 here, Simon.
And you just saw Annie on her screen immediately go over to the team leader, AJ Myers, and they had a quick chat about the session. She was wearing a Do It for Dale shirt, and she certainly did it that session. An excellent run up to P6. Jay Irwin down in P7, not quite where I expected to see him.
Yeah.
We'll see if he can work forward from there. It's a big field. There's 30 drivers. 7th isn't the worst place to be starting. However, if you're going to start at the back, you're going to have a rough time, and Justin White having issues is going to be at the very tail end of this field.
Yeah, unfortunate for Justin White, who was really strong at the opening round and just all fell apart in the first couple of laps here in this one. Ian Quinn, what a session for him. P3 here, 0.2 off of AJ Myers, but I mean, Ian Quinn up to P3, and that's really good. And then you start thinking about the race pace, right? You're going to have very, very long races and a very long main event on Sunday. But AJ Myers, I mean, scary, scary qualifying session here by him. Class of the field here so far, and people are going to need a lot here in this one. The likes of Jay Irwin, who had the race pace last time out at Charlotte, starting 7th with some work to do, and you work further back. Eli Fox was quick last time out. Chase Jones in his opening, I guess, debut in the Pro Stars category, only 16th for him, and a couple of other drivers with some work to do here, Simon.
Yeah, on down the field, we have 30 kart strong here in our Pro Stars category, and like you said, a warning sent out to all of the competitors from AJ Myers. A very strong session puts him almost 0.3 clear of his nearest competitor, and it was not just good, it was consistent. He had 2 quick laps that session, and the first of which was a 105.55. The next of which, his fastest lap of the session, a 105.50. So 0.05 of a second separating his 2 quick laps, showing extreme consistency, and then immediately backing it off, knowing that was all the kart had that session, and it certainly was enough, as he will happily start from the front of the field. You see him there in the middle of your screen wearing that magic suit, enjoying his afternoon here in Newcastle.
Yeah, I mean, what a showing for AJ Myers. Debriefing there with Michael Riccio. A big smile on AJ Myers' face as he gets set to start on the front row and on the inside, and all of the heat races tomorrow. 2 heat races and a pre-final tomorrow, and then we have the main events coming your way on Sunday. But wow, a lot to talk about and a lot of storylines coming out of this one. I mean, a lot to debrief, and we'll talk to all these drivers tomorrow morning bright and early. So let's throw up your schedule here on your screen, so we'll see what the weekend looks like for us as it progresses there in this one. So this is tomorrow's schedule. We'll be live bright and early at 7:30 a.m. Eastern, and then we'll go to heat race number 1 at 9:10 a.m. Eastern, then heat 2, the Pro Show Moto 1, the Pro Show Moto 2 as well. They get set to come your way, but warm-up is free for everybody to watch live on YouTube, and then heat races and the Pro Show Motos will be for KC Premium members only. So for $9.99 a month, become a KC Premium member and watch all the racing action live across every single state and every series that we go to as the summer and the year continues to unfold. So that's the schedule for tomorrow, and then that's your Sunday schedule where the KA pre-final B is going to be, which is the I guess LCQ, and then the main events get set to go green at 11 a.m. on Sunday morning, and then at 2 p.m. Eastern we get set to go green with our OK Stars and our Pro Stars at 2 p.m. Eastern, and at 2:45 with the post-race ceremonies and all that fun stuff. But on this Friday afternoon, I mean, as we get ready to close the show out, Simon, your final thoughts and what you thought about it so far.
I mean, what a day we had, really. An excellent round of qualifying in all of the categories. I think a few of the talking points, one of which is going to be tires dropping off. How much are we going to see that throughout the racing action? And how is the racecraft going to play with the big draft we see here at Newcastle Motorsports Park? But really a thoroughly entertaining day with big fields across all of our categories. Well done to our competitors here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. We're here at King of the Castle, round 2 of the Stars Championship Series. Excited to have you all here and excited to get to racing action tomorrow morning.
Yeah, so a lot of, a very, very action-packed weekend that we have set to come your way for all of the viewers at home. From myself, Caleb Yeska, Simon Sykes alongside me here in the booth, who's going to be getting some info for us tomorrow, and Xander Clemens is going to be joining us tomorrow as well. And from all the Kart Chaser crew, thank you for joining us on this Friday evening for the qualifying sessions. We'll be live bright and early tomorrow. We are live from Newcastle Motorsports Park. It's been a great night of the qualifying session here for the second round of the Stars Championship Series, the King of the Castle. From all of us here at Kart Chaser and the Stars Championship Series, thank you, and have a good night, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.